Safe as coffee and really helps keep you going.
I got it.
Revive with Vivarin.
On their own, my next two guests have had many hits. Now, if you put them together, you have a surefire musical recipe for success. Performing All I'll Ever Ask. Please give it up for Najee and Freddie Jackson.
The critics are calling Mr. Saturday Night the picture to beat at Oscar time.
Wow.
Sensational. Billy.
Yes. You all know my next guest from 21 Jump Street. Now she has a brand new series, and it's called Hanging with Mr. Cooper. It premieres tomorrow night on ABC. Please welcome Holly Robinson. Yes, wow. Oh, man. Actually, all the trailers I've seen or commercials for the show have played very heavily on your sexuality and the tension that exists. Tell them what the show's about.
Okay, well, Hanging with Mr. Cooper is... A lot of critics have been calling us the Black Threes Company.
Do you like those comparisons?
No, well, yes and no.
Okay.
One, I don't like it because I think it's unimaginative, because critics tend to say, okay, well, since it's a show that was very successful, whenever you see a show that's slightly the same premise, they say it was the black version of that or the new 90s version of that. But I like it because Three's Company was a very, very successful show.
Right.
And, but we deal with a few different issues. I mean, that was in the 1970s or like late 70s. And the show was not conceived that way. The show was conceived, Mark Curry, who's one of the stars of the show, it was based on his stand-up comedy.
Right.
So that's how the show was conceived. It wasn't like they said, okay, we're going to hire a black Janet, a black Jack, and a black Chrissy, and we're going to call it 3B Company.
Yeah.
You know? It wasn't like that, you know, we're going to have a neighbor named Walona. Yeah. And, you know, it wasn't like that, you know. Landlord named Mr. Bookman. So it just kind of fell in place. Dawn Lewis and I, and it's been such a pleasure to work with Dawn Lewis, who's from a different world, and Mark Curry. We're like a little family. And that's just kind of the way it fell into place. So we didn't set out to make the Black Threes Company, but that's pretty much the premise. Mark is a substitute teacher who wanted to be in the NBA and didn't make it. And along came Dawn and I. We all lived together and share a house. And, you know, because, I mean, back in the day, in, like, 78, with Three's Company, if you guys remember, Jack had to lie to the landlord that he was gay in order for it to be socially acceptable for him to live with two women in the same apartment.
Right.
So, right there, you know, we got a different situation. There's no lying about it. Today it's socially acceptable to everybody, except maybe Dan Quayle, but who cares?
Now when I see the commercials and I see this gentleman kind of making remarks about how beautiful you are and different things, I mean, do you all get together in this?
What do you mean?
I mean...
what are you getting to?
Well, I mean, is there a love affair between you two, or...?
No, it's a little sexual tension. I mean, Dawn plays a character that was Mark's friend from the 3rd grade, and I play a character who was a friend of Dawn's.
Oh.
So he kind of sees me as attracted to me, but he chases me around. But I think it's more in fun and games as opposed to, are we going to end up in the sack together, which I hope not, because most shows where that's happened usually end up pretty boring, so...
Yeah.
I think we'll keep that going for a while. But he has, you know, love interests that come on the show. And
okay.
So.
And you have a clip. What's in this clip?
I went out on a date, and it wasn't a really good date, and Mark comes in to make fun of me.
We'll be right back with Holly Robinson.
Sealed with a kiss. Virtually hopeless.
Watch Cascade's triple action formula scrub, lift, and rinse dirty glasses sparkling clean. Cascade, from virtually hopeless to virtually spotless.
This is it. Eyeshadow so different, so alive. Clarion introduces new Captive Color eyeshadow. Different because this special cream powder base goes on first. So color locks on for hours. Unstoppable color. Only from the Clarion computer. Captive Color eyeshadow. Because we don't want you to look kind of nice. We want you gorgeous. Clarion.
Max Factor reinvents eyeshadow. New shadow sweep. Now you can shadow anytime, anywhere. See that plush brush? Each sweep colors, contours, and defines. All at once on impact. New shadow sweep from Max Factor International. Impact by Max Factor.
It's the King of Diamonds Credit Jewelers in the lobby of the Statler downtown Buffalo. We have over 3,000 rings, 1,500 gold chains, 500 bracelets, 1,000 pair of earrings, and 1,500 charms. If you haven't checked us out, you're missing the boat. Visa, MasterCard layaway, and our own King of Diamonds charge. Nothing down and monthly payments as low as $15. King of Diamonds Credit Jewelers, 107 Delaware Avenue. Bill's 14-karat charm. Your choice, $29 or $69.
Where can you go to get a break? To turn your luck around? Bryant & Stratton has a line on jobs with a future. And we'll prepare you to get them. With class hours you can live with. And then we'll help you get the job you want. So get skilled and give it your best shot.
The fresher the vegetable, the fresher the salad. And now there's a fat-free dressing that tastes just as fresh. New Good Seasons for fat-free dressing. The fat-free you make fresh with no oil. Because the best fat-free is the fresh fat-free.
In a business sense, I owe you a congratulations. I mean, I'm going to start calling you the boss. Tell them about this job.
Well, I had so much fun this summer doing a miniseries that's going to be on called The Jacksons, An American Dream, and I portrayed Diana Ross, and that was so much fun. I would have done it for free.
Really?
But the check's already cleared, so it's too late. But no, it was really fun. I mean, it was such a blast because just portraying someone like Diana, and I got to do my own singing, and that was fun. I got to sing Reach Out and Touch somebody's hand. It was so much fun. I can't even tell you. But so, I mean, it comes on November 15th and 18th. It's a quick, role. It's really a cameo. It's not the Diana Ross story. It's the Jackson story and chronicles their lives. But I had it basically talks about Diana Ross's involvement in the success of the Jackson Five, how she introduced them, but she wasn't the one who discovered them, so it dispels that myth.
Yeah.
And, but it was a blast.
Now, when you just briefly did that Reach Out and Touch,
yes.
You had that breathy quality.
I know.
Do you know her?
I met her one time after I did it, and I was so nervous. I saw her in a restaurant, and I walked up to her, and I thought, I didn't know, and I just said, "Hi, Miss Ross," and she was very nice, said she'd heard good things about it, that she hadn't seen it yet, and she was sweet, introduced me to her daughter, so I just let it be that. But I was nervous, very nervous, because when you're playing somebody who's still around, who's still kicking, and who's still performing, it's tough to live up to that. What?
Yeah. I think still kicking got them in some way. And you also went to the Democratic Convention.
Yeah, I like to be involved in politics. I think it's really important. This is the most important political year. We've all heard it. I don't mean to sound cliche, but I went to the Democratic Convention, which I would always go to for the rest of my life. It is a lot of fun. It's like a soap opera, you know. Will, what's his name? Ex-governor of California.
Oh, him.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Jerry Brown.
Yes, will Jerry Brown speak? Won't he speak? You know, what's going on between Jesse and Clinton and, you know, all these things. It sounds boring. I know you guys sitting at home going, oh, a convention. It's not like a U2 concert or something. You know? But you know what I mean? But it's so exciting. And I managed to get a podium pass, which is a big deal. It's like the last ticket to a Michael Jackson concert or something, you know?
Yes.
And I got up on the podium, and I was on the left side just before Al Gore was going to take his acceptance speech, and I was over there by the Gore family. I was like, yes, I am up here, and I'm on, you know, hi, Mom. You know, I'm on TV all the time, but when in those situations, you still waving at the camera talking about hi, Mom. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and I'm so excited, and along comes the Secret Service, and they said, okay, everyone move off except the Gore family. And I was with this woman, a white woman, who just, like, stood next to the Gore family, and I couldn't, you know, needless to say, pass for a Gore. So the Secret Service walked up to me and said, and I tried. The Secret Service walked up to me, and they said, excuse me, you'll have to leave. Only the Gore family. And I said, well, I'm, you know, Naquita Gore. I'm, you know, I'm Al Gore's, play sister's adopted cousin, long lost, you know, that didn't work, obviously, so. But I tried, but it was exciting just to be up there and the fanfare. And it's just such an important year. We gotta make some changes, so.
Yeah.
Everybody gotta get out there and vote, too. That's important.
Yeah, that's what's important. No matter who you vote for, vote. Yeah.
People died for the right to vote.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a shame to spit on it. You gotta use it.
Did you get to meet Clinton or Gore or anybody?
I shook Clinton's hand the other night at a fundraiser here.
Okay.
And,
is that big thing at the man's house?
All that money.
Yeah.
I hope I shook his hand. Shoot, I mean, I know, you guys, it was a very expensive fundraiser. And I am busy. And after the convention, I wanted to remain politically active. In other words, go out to do voter registration drives, et cetera, et cetera. And I've been working, and so I don't have the time. So I said, okay, I'm going to pay for this fundraiser. I'm not even going to tell you guys how much I paid for a picnic dinner, okay? It was so expensive.
But didn't Streisand sing or something?
Yeah, Streisand sang, and I mean, Dustin Hoffman was there, and everybody. It was really a nice event.
Yeah. But she kind of made it worth the price of the ticket,
absolutely. Right? That's what it was for.
Yeah, that's good. And you know, when you were talking about singing and doing Diana Ross's thing, I forgot you sing. You were supposed to be working on an album.
Oh God, the album that never would. I really want to do an album, and I'm going to do an album, but I just don't want to put out that album that you do just because you're on TV, and you know. One thing that I did recently sing with Dawn Lewis is the main titles to our show, called "Hanging with My Man," and we shot it with En Vogue doing the background. So that ought to be really, really good. Yeah. And we're really excited about that.
Well, the show premieres tomorrow. It's called Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Tuesdays, ABC, 8:30 p.m. Check her out. I'm sure it's a good one.
This may look like a typical light beer and a typical night at the lanes. But this is no typical night at the lanes and no typical bowler.
Look, I'm an ordinary fellow. People think we're kind of mellow. I'm not here to throw you, but to throw you and tell you. Tonight we're landing on the line with the funky rhythm rhyme. Busting the groove in double time. Get yours, I got
and this doesn't taste like a typical light beer. This is cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft Light.
Yeah, we're chilling, Ellen Ferrella, getting it right with the furious hype straight out of sight. Straight out of my tonight, we in the house. Peace.
A lot of people come to Subway for big food. They're in for a shock when they see our new 79-cent round sandwiches. Not just because of their shape, but because it's pretty amazing to think you can get a delicious sandwich on fresh baked bread for only 79 cents. They're perfect for people who don't want to pay a lot to eat with one hand. 79 cents, not since you were a little kid, has your lunch money jingled.
For more information on the new 79-cent sandwiches, bring your appetite to the Subway near you.
George Foreman and his sons George, and the taste of new Doritos now with more natural cheese flavor. George Foreman the fifth. George the fourth.
Crunchy.
George the third.
Cheesier.
George Jr.
It's a mucho macho nacho.
And the original George.
What? I was wrong.
Conclusive proof, 4 out of 5 George Foremans prefer the taste of new Doritos tortilla chips with more natural cheese flavor.
Who taught you kids how to eat like this?
You, Dad.
Bring a heart that's full of wonder and let Disney do the rest. You're away, you know, live it up and have a ball. The service here is never second best. Get set to laugh and sing. We thought of everything, so be our guest, be our guest, be our guest.
Walt Disney World invites you to be our guest. Call 407-WDisney.
I could use a little love right now from his CD Time for Love. This is Freddie Jackson.
Kids today need to learn responsibility. Mine have dish night, and they do a great job. So there's no food like little tomato seeds left stuck on the plates. They always pre-rinse, and they never overload.
No matter who does the dishes, Cascade does the dirty work. Dishes washed without sheeting action are left looking dirty, but Cascade with sheeting action gets them so clean they're virtually spotless.
Perfect. Every night should be dish night.
Tan. From mocha to khaki, beige to desert sand, tan's a color with 1,000 faces. A color that always seems to say, "Hey, pal, how about me?" And you say, "Of course." Tan. Couldn't be easier. And nobody does tan like Dockers.
I want my WPOP, and I want it now. Thanks.
It's dynamite.
Martin thought he needed a plumber, but this Thursday...
Plumber, Tommy. He's dead. How'd he die? Think like this.
He may need an undertaker.
Remember when I told you I was having trouble with the toilet?
I didn't think it was that bad.
Martin.
You calling 911? Are you kidding me, man? A dead white guy in a black man's apartment.
Thursday night on Fox 29.
My bleach can't cut it?
If you're cleaning greasy dirt, you know bleach alone can't cut it.
What's better than bleach?
New Liquid Comet Bleach Cleaner beats bleach clean. It's bleach for bathrooms, mold and mildew, even stains. Plus a cleaner to clean floors and get that greasy kitchen dirt. Why use ordinary bleach to clean? Use New Comet Bleach Cleaner.
Beats bleach clean.
It takes all the right tools, drive, and determination to build a rock-hard, chiseled body. General Nutrition has the nutritional tools to help create the ultimate body with Phase 1. the complete bodybuilding system designed specifically for the beginner and intermediate athlete. If you're serious about bodybuilding, start with Cybergenics Phase 1. Help sculpt your ultimate body with General Nutrition Centers, the authority in sports nutrition products.
Guests of the Arsenio Hall show stay at the new Hotel Nico in Beverly Hills. Once you get here, you know you've arrived. Conveniently located on the cutting edge of Los Angeles, it's LA's newest statement of style and elegance.
Yeah. Sitting with Freddie and Najee. Now, how did you all first come together?
Gosh, I think it started 1987. I was on the Freddie Jackson Tasty Love tour after my first album came out. And that's where it started.
Yeah, well, prior to that, you know, we used to see each other walking down the streets of New York City, right?
Starving.
Yeah, we were starving. As you can tell, I'm full now.
Now, wait, what's the story about him cutting you off?
That's not true. No. Well, one evening, we were... yeah, this is really weird. But we had a concert at Avery Fisher Hall in New York at Lincoln Center, and I was the opening act. And in the middle of our show, towards the end, the lights came on, the sound went off.
And everybody was blaming me.
That's right.
It's like Freddie Jackson was back there with the button that said, cut Najee off, you know?
Well, I mean, we knew that, but we kept playing anyway, you know what I'm saying? The lights came on, we were still going.
In other words, he paid me no attention anyway.
Oh, so you did cut him off?
No, that's not the way it was. We were at a union house, and they were like, all right, it's time to get him off, you know? He was getting his stuff off, though. And but they just kind of like cut up the lights.
They do that, though. In Vegas, they'll do that because when your time is up and they want to get people back into the casinos, you know, I was opening for Lou Rawls once, and he was like, you'll never find. And somebody said, that's it. If they find it, it won't be in here. It's time to get out in the casino, you know? Yeah, because they want to get them out there back on the tables, you know? Oh, boy. I had somebody pull the lyric, because I'm listening to him sing that last song, and I said, pull that lyric. Do it in the bath, do it in the tub, do it in the living room, do it on the rug, do it in the kitchen. Wait, okay.
Somebody know what we're talking about.
So far, so good. Do it in the sink, you know? And turn on the light first so all the roaches are running and everything. Do it any and every way we think.
That's right.
Who wrote that lyric, man?
Mr. Barry Eastman, but I lived every single one of them.
Great lyrics here.
Yeah, they are good.
Now, what is tasty lyrics, I should have said. What do you like about this album, and what separates it from albums in the past?
I think this is the most personable album that I've ever made, to be perfectly honest with you. A lot of the songs that I did record on this album, to be honest with you, Arsenio, I've been away for a little while, and I've actually experienced some of the songs on this album. And to me, it's an extension of Freddie Jackson and an extension of actually what I've been doing. In my own little way, I guess I'm telling my business on this album just a little bit.
In the sink?
Hey,
damn.
It's right.
Now, the first tune you did is on both albums, right?
That's right, yeah.
That's good. Actually, I have them here somewhere, but I knocked them down on the ground. Here they are. Here they are.
On the floor now.
Yeah. That's what Freddie's looks like, Time for Love, and that's what Najee's looks like. You all go check them out.